you should have remembered the answers of all those questions. The past previous year questions ki jo science ki questions hai, which are the theoretical questions only, excluding the numerical questions, you should memorize all the answers.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
now because many times questions are repeated.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we did talked about reaction of metals and non-metals with water, and there metal hydroxide was formed, that is basic in nature, and hydrogen gas was released. We had the example of sodium, which was very explosive. Then we did talked about reaction of acids also, right? So some of the metals will be reacting with dilute acids, but some of the metals will not be reacting. Okay. Hmm. So we did this experiment. We did studied about this experiment as well. Okay. Talking about reaction of metals with bases. How do the metals or non-metals react with bases? That is what was left to be discussed. All right now.
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay, read the given activity here.
We can demonstrate the formation of hydrogen gas in the reaction of aluminium metal with sodium hydroxide as follows. Take 5 milliliter of freshly prepared sodium hydroxide solution in a boiling tube. Rub a piece of aluminium foil in the sodium hydroxide solution and heat the
Hmm.
boiling tube over a burner. Bring a lighted matchstick near the mouth of the boiling tube. We'll
Hmm.
find that the gas produced burns with a pop sound, showing that it is a hydrogen gas.
Right. Okay, so when the metal aluminum reacts with a freshly prepared sodium hydroxide, thereby it will release a gas, hydrogen gas, right now. And
Yes.
it is proved because it burns with a pop sound. Okay. Also, do tell me, like, regarding the metals do react with the acids. Metals, they do react with the acids. Most of the metals will be reacting with the dilute acids. And
Yes.
they will be forming what?
So, hydrogen gas plus
Hmm.
oxides,
Not oxides,
salts.
salts, metal salts, right? Metal salts. Okay. For
Yes.
example, if it is a salt, if it if it is chloride salts, so thereby it is metal chlorides, right? Now, for example, MgCl2. Now, magnesium chloride is an example of a salt.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me, in order to obtain magnesium chloride, which metal and acid has to be reacted? Should be reacted.
So, magnesium plus
Hmm.
dilute acid.
Name of the acid. You're getting the question, na? In order to get a magnesium chloride, which is a salt, अगर हमें magnesium chloride चाहिए, right? Hydrogen gas is also released. So you said magnesium will be reacting with an acid. Okay.
Yes, sir.
What is the name of that acid?
So,
You can guess from it. This is chlorine. In which acid you find chlorine? Hydrochloric acid, no? HCl,
yes, sir.
right now. So magnesium displaces hydrogen and reacts with chlorine to form magnesium chloride, and hydrogen gas is liberated. Getting it now?
Yes, sir.
Hmm. Okay. Acha. Acha, what about the metals like silver or gold? Will they also be reacting with dilute acids?
Yes,
They
yes,
will be
sir.
reacting. Metals like silver or gold, will they also be reacting with the
No,
dilute
sir.
acids? Huh?
No, sir.
Look, the thing here is that the rate of reaction will be very slow. And then another thing is that hydrogen gas will not be released. They will not be producing hydrogen gas. Okay. Even dilute acids will corrode the surface. But as
Yes, sir.
compared to concentrated acids, it will corrode the surface very slowly. And next thing to be noted here is that hydrogen gas will not be released when reaction takes place between metals like silver and gold with an dilute acid. Okay. Back to about the reaction with the bases. So there are some metals with which will be reacting with bases to form salt and hydrogen gas. I'm wondering why others haven't joined today. Apart from you, none has joined today, right? Hmm. Okay. So the thing to be noted here is that some metals react with bases to form salts and hydrogen gas, right? So
Yes,
moments
sir.
ago, like in the previous class, we did talked about like even the metals will be reacting with the acids also to form salt. Now
Yes, sir.
metals acid के साथ भी react करके salt form करते हैं. There are some metals that will be even reacting with bases to form salt and hydrogen.
Yes,
So
sir.
that is the common thing between the two. In both the cases, salt is being formed, whether the reaction is with the acid or with a base.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So why the in this activity we had the example of aluminum. Let me erase this thing to avoid confusion. So for example, if we take a metal, in this one aluminum, then we take a base. In the given activity, the base is sodium hydroxide. What is the chemical formula of sodium hydroxide? Hydroxide?
The NaSO4.
NaOH. It's NaOH. Na here stands for Arhan. It stands
The
for
sodium
sodium. OH stands for
hydroxide.
hydroxide. So hence together called as sodium hydroxide.
Sodium hydroxide.
Right. So aluminum plus sodium hydroxide will give you sodium aluminate. It will give you sodium aluminate. Sodium aluminate. So the formula is NaAlO2. ठीक है ना?
Yes,
And
sir.
then hydrogen gas obviously will be released.
Yes,
That
sir.
is H2. Never write hydrogen gas is H only. It is H2. Okay. Now, apart from that, we have other metals also. Like अब zinc की भी example ले सकते हैं. You have the example of zinc also. So zinc will also be reacting with this sodium hydroxide.
Yes, sir.
Okay, it will also be reacting with sodium hydroxide in order to release hydrogen gas. So
Yes, sir.
aluminum and zinc are one of the two common metals that react with bases, like the sodium hydroxide here, to produce a hydrogen gas and give salt. Getting
Yes,
it
sir.
now? Okay. Yeah, Mo, assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Walaikum salam, sir. I'm fine.
Okay. Moaz, do you have any classes at this time? Right before this class, do you attend any other classes?
No, sir.
Okay, okay. I thought you attend some classes. That's why I have observed that you joined class by 10 minutes after the class has already started. You are joining. Hmm.
No, sir.
Okay, Moaz, try to join the class at the given time. ऐसे आपको problem होगा. You will be missing the important points. Okay,
Okay, sir.
Moaz. So it is for you. For you, I am saying that please try to join the class at the given time. So in the previous class, you will present, right?
Yeah.
So we did talked about all these things in the previous class. How the reaction between the reaction takes place. How the metals and non-metals react with acids, water, and oxygen. Right now,
Yes.
we are talking about the reaction of metals and non-metals with the bases. So
Yes.
you had the example of metals like aluminum, zinc. These are some of the common metals that will be reacting with a base. They do react with the base in order to give a salt. Okay, so for example, aluminum reacts with sodium hydroxide to form a salt here. This over here is a salt.
Yes.
Okay, so both of you, can you tell me what was the common thing in the reaction of a metal with a base and in the reaction of a metal with an acid? What is common between the reaction taking place between metals and base and between metals and acids?
Yes, sir. Can you repeat?
My question is that what is common in between the reaction taking place between a metal and a base And second, a reaction taking place between a metal and an acid.
Say hydrogen gas.
Hydrogen gas is common. There's one more thing common.
Say salts.
Salts, in both the cases, salts are being formed
Yes,
right
sir.
now. So Moz, you also note this thing that metals react with base to give a salt and hydrogen gas. Metals were also reacting with acids to give salt and hydrogen right now. So ये common है दोनों में. Hope that is clear to both of you. Just a general thing of observation here, right? So I just told you that these two are some of the common metals that to react with the bases. Okay, now here need one important thing has to be noted here, that not all the metals will be reacting with the bases
Yes, sir.
right now. So only some of the metals react. So you can note here that not all the metals react with bases.
So does copper react
Copper,
with bases?
copper reacts with bases. Copper reacts with bases. Okay, now. Also, like the thing here is not like if I were to make the base more concentric, okay, then there the reaction can take place. अगर मेरे पास given compound weak है, for example, if I am having a dilute acid, for example, let's take the example of gold. Huh? So, for example, if gold is made to react with a dilute acid, so reaction will not take place most probably, and hydrogen gas will not be liberated. But what if I were to replace a dilute acid with a very strong acid? I were to take a very concentrated acid, so thereby
It will.
reaction will take place,
Yes, sir.
right, Moz, Arhan?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay, and Arhan, same cases here as well. Suppose some metals are non-reactive with a base, but if I were to do some changes in the reaction, what if I were to heat the mixture of an acid of a base and a metal? एक मैंने chemically lesser reactive metal लिया है, for example. Okay, and if I were to take a base, now I provide some energy to the reaction taking place between the two. What if I were to heat? So पहले normal condition में reactions नहीं होते, but now the reaction will take place right now. So exceptions will be there. Okay now. So in chemistry, nothing is absolute. Remember that thing. When you study chemistry, when you will be studying chemistry in class 11 and 12, there also you'll be having several exceptions almost everywhere. Okay. Okay, so this part we did talk about reaction of metals. Next, we'll be talking about how do non-metals react with bases. Okay, so far, if there's any confusion or question, please do let me know.
No, sir.
Hello. Okay,
No,
so
sir.
both of you tell me, a metal plus a base will give C
Salt
plus
plus
D.
hydrogen.
Salt plus hydrogen gas.
Hydrogen.
So that is salt, that is hydrogen. Good. Talking about reaction of non-metals with bases. How do non-metals react with bases? Huh? So the thing, yes, go on.
So they do not react since they don't react with acid as well.
They do not react, and uh, in fact, the thing is now some of the non-metals do react with bases, but the reaction is very complex. The reaction is very complex, and you will be studying that in senior classes. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Second thing to be noted about that. First thing is that reaction of non-metals with bases are very complex. So right now it's not part of the syllabus. Second thing to be noted here that if the reaction takes place, hydrogen gas is not liberated. अगर reaction होता है, hydrogen gas liberate नहीं होता है. Okay now.
Yes, sir.
So talking about reaction of the reaction of non-metals with bases does not release hydrogen gas. Only few non-metals react with bases. Third thing, the reaction is complex. Okay, so here basically the physical and chemical properties of the metals and non-metals ends. We did discuss the physical properties and we did discuss the chemical properties, right? Okay, physical properties क्या क्या हमने discuss की थी? Moz, you list some of the points, and Arhan, you also list some of the points regarding physical properties of metals and non-metals. For example, let's say if I were to say conductivity.
So do I start?
You can start.
The metals are conductive of heat and electricity. Meanwhile, non-metals do not conduct heat and electricity.
Okay. Then
Metals are electropositive and non-metals are electronegative.
they are positive, they are negative. Good. Further.
And metals loses electrons easily. Meanwhile, non-metals attract electrons.
Okay.
But it would not come in physical properties.
Exactly. These are part of the chemical properties. Okay, now. So what
So
are some of the
malleability.
malleability? Metals are malleable while the non-metals are not malleable. Okay. Was you also mentioned some points? Yes, Moz.
Yes, sir.
You also mentioned some of the points. What were the physical properties of metals and non-metals? Yes, Moz. Hope I'm audible.
Yes, sir.
What were the some of the physical properties of metals and non-metals? हमने पढ़ा था ना? Like metals can be drawn into wire. Metals can be hammered and beaten into sheets. Huh? Metals
Yes,
produces what? When you hit with a hammer, metals do produce sound. Now.
Yes,
yes, sir.
sonorous.
That is, they are sonorous in nature, right now. Okay, so these are some of the physical properties. Also, you get to see that most of the metals will remain solid at the room temperature,
Yes,
except mercury and gallium.
yes, sir.
Okay, but most of the non-metals exist in either two of the three states of matter. Either it will be existing as gaseous or either as solid. Right now, ज़्यादातर हमारे पास exceptions है. For example, oxygen. Is oxygen a metal or non-metal, by the way?
Non-metal.
Non-metal. Okay, now. Carbon, the graphite. Graphite is a metal or non-metal?
Non-metal.
But graphite being a non-metal still conducts
Electricity.
electricity. Right now. Okay, what were some of the examples of non-metals?
Sir,
Which examples?
phosphorus,
Phosphorus, very good. And
Sulfur,
carbon,
gallium, and
gallium is not a non-metal.
so,
It's a metal.
sulfur,
Sulfur, very good. Yeah, continue. Arhan, you also mentioned some of the
bromine
names. Bromine,
and
bromine. And the state
krypton.
of the krypton. Yeah, and the state of the bromine is
Yes, sir.
in what state bromine is found? Bromine जो हम बात करते हैं. What is the state in which bromine is found?
So
Is it in
liquid.
liquid? It is in liquid state. Good.
It is also
Okay.
denser. Its gas is also denser than water.
It is denser than water. Usually bromine red brownish color का होता है. right now.
Yes, sir.
And room temperature पे liquid state में होता है, and it will now start evaporating. If
Yes,
kept in
sir.
open for a longer period of time, it will start evaporating.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Atomic periodic table में ये 35th number पे element होता है, and ये
Yes,
volatile होता है. Volatile, you guys understand, something that evaporates quickly.
yes, sir.
Like considering petrol. Petrol क्या होता है? Volatile होता है, right?
Yes, sir.
Petrol is volatile, no? Okay. Yeah, Ahmed, Assalamu alaikum, how are you? So those are some of the examples. Okay, and for metals, there are so many metals, right? Now there
Yes,
are
sir.
so many metals. Majority of the elements are basically metals. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Also, out of the 118 elements we have discovered so far, how many of them are naturally occurring? So far, we know about 118 elements, right? Either it be metals, non-metals, metalloids, whatever it is. Total, there are 118 elements we know so far. There are slightly more than that. Some books mention 120, some books mention 122, like that. But
Yes, sir.
generally, हम इतना consider करते हैं.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and out of that, 90 of them are naturally occurring. Rest of
Sir,
them were
92.
92. Okay, okay. Exact figure is 92. Huh. So around 90 or 92 are naturally occurring. Okay. And obviously the examples of metals are more than the non-metals. Okay. So regarding the physical and chemical properties of the two, if anyone has any questions, please do let me know. Or otherwise, I will have a quick test here.
Sir, germanium is a non-metal, right?
Germanium, you said no. Huh, germanium is a non-metal. I heard like you were saying gallium. मुझे लगा आप gallium कह रहे हैं. Okay. Ashif, there was one more thing here. There was one more thing here to be discussed. Look here. मैंने कहा था ना, like in the beginning, Arhan, I said about amphoteric oxides, na? So that thing was left to be discussed. Yeah. Is Ahmed here in the class or not?
He left.
He left. Yeah. So look here. So next thing is that you have some metal oxides that will be reacting with both acids and it will be reacting with bases also. Okay. Before that also, a common thing you guys should be knowing that whenever an acid will be reacting with a base now, thereby salt,
Neutral.
exactly, salt and water is formed.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Whenever acid reacts with a base, salt and water is formed. Getting it, Moaz, Arhan? Okay.
It also becomes neutral.
Exactly. Since the reaction of the acid and base nullifies its properties, so
Yes, sir.
thereby they both become neutral and hence you get salt. Right? Acid की pH value की अगर हम बात करते हैं, like there's a pH scale which is having a number from 0 to 14, right now.
Yes, sir.
So thereby 7 denotes that it is neutral, neither acidic nor basic in nature.
Yes, sir.
Close to 0 means they are acidic in nature. Right now, 7 close to 14, after 7 close to 14, it means they are basic in nature.
Yes,
ठीक
sir.
है. So acid का जो pH value होता है, it is between 0 to 7. Okay ना. While that of base, it is between 7 to 14. Hope that is clear to both of you.
Yes, sir.
There's no need to do
Yes.
too much of PhD about what is this pH scale. Okay ना. Just know कि just like हमारे पास एक ruler होता है, you have a scale to measure the length. Similarly, you have such a thing called as pH scale in order to determine the acidity and basicity of a given substance. Hope that is clear.
So
Okay.
pH means potential of hydrogen, right?
Exactly. Potency of hydrogen or potential of hydrogen. It basically denotes that how much of hydrogen is there in the given substance. For example, if the concentration of hydrogen is more, thereby it is acid. If it is lesser, thereby it is basic in nature.
Yes, sir.
Right now. Hmm. ओके, वो लॉग में हम उसे डिटरमाइन करते हैं, बट दैट विल बी that I won't be touching because you will be getting confused then. Yeah, Moaz, you were saying something?
No, sir.
Okay, okay. So before I discuss about the amphoteric oxide, ये basic फंडा आपको clear होना चाहिए. This should be cleared for both of it. That acid plus base gives you salt and water. ठीक है?
Yes, sir.
Now going on to the amphoteric oxides. Now you guys remember about the metal oxides? We talked about the reaction of a metal with oxygen gives metal oxides. Huh?
Yes,
Metal
sir.
and oxygen का reaction होता है, thereby it gives metal oxide. For example,
Yes,
you
sir.
have so many examples. For example, copper plus oxygen gave you copper oxide, right now. Aluminium
Calcium.
plus oxygen, yeah. Aluminium plus oxygen gave you aluminium oxide,
Yes, sir.
Al2O3, right now. Aluminate. और magnesium plus oxygen हमें क्या give कर रहा है? What is it giving? Magnesium
Magnesium.
oxide.
Yes, sir.
Oxide, no, why it will be hydroxide? So we did studied about this. Metal plus oxygen gives you metal oxide. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Acha, Moaz, you to tell me one thing. Like if metal were reacting with water, अगर metal का water के साथ reaction हो रहा है, so thereby
Ye-
what we were getting
Yes, sir.
when the metals were reacting with water, जब metals का water के साथ reaction हो रहा है, then what were we getting? तब हमें क्या
Some
मिल रहा
metallic
था?
hydroxide.
Okay. And what else, Moaz? और क्या मिल रहा था हमें? Only metallic hydroxide we were getting, or was there one more thing?
Sir, hydrogen gas.
Hydrogen gas. Okay, now. So you had the metallic hydroxide plus hydrogen. Look, this chapter, majority of the students I have seen, they forget the reactions of the metals with different compounds. Okay, or with different things. But make sure you to remember that. Okay, ना? क्योंकि मैं कभी भी पूछता रहूंगा questions. Okay. Now back to the amphoteric oxides. So amphoteric oxides are ना, you have some metal oxides जो acids के साथ भी react करेंगे और bases के साथ भी react करेंगे. Okay ना? There are
Sir, zinc oxide.
yeah, zinc oxide is there, aluminum oxide is there. Okay.
Lead oxide.
Lead oxide. There are some special metal oxides that reacts with both acids and bases to produce salt and water. Salt and water. So for example, if you have the example of aluminate, that is Al2O3, और ये reaction करता है let's say HCl के साथ, so thereby it will be forming aluminum chloride, AlCl3,
Yes, sir.
and releasing water. Let me write the name of the compounds also. This is aluminum oxide, which is also called as amphoteric oxide भी हम कह रहे हैं इसे. Why? Because it will be reacting with acid here. Next case में हम देखेंगे it will be reacting with a base also to give a salt and water.
Yes, sir.
So this all you guys know. This is hydrochloric acid, and this is aluminium chloride, and that is water. Hold on for a moment. Let me add some spaces over here.
Sir, is O3 known as ozone?
Exactly. O3 is the molecule of ozone layer. Right now, basically, there free oxygen atom reacts with oxygen. क्योंकि क्लोरीन उसे ब्रेक कर रहा होता है. Anyways, that's a different thing. I will be touching upon that sometime. Okay, I will do tell me about that thing sometime. Okay.
Yes.
Hmm. I will be discussing that in detail. See, basically मैं आपको वहाँ पे explain करूंगा like how chlorofluorocarbon gases or the chlorine gases are actually responsible for depleting the ozone layer right now. So first of all, amphoteric oxides, we did say it will be reacting with an acid and a base also. So यहाँ पर ही acid के साथ react कर रहा है, and this aluminum chloride is salt. So you are getting salt and water. Second case, let's take example of a base that will be reacting with Al2O3. So you have the common base sodium hydroxide.
Yes, sir.
ये base है, the name is sodium hydroxide. Okay, Moaz. So thereby
Yes.
it will be giving sodium aluminate and AlO2 plus water. So हमें क्या मिल रहा है? Sodium aluminate, and sodium aluminate is a salt. ये एक salt है, and that there you have water.
Yes, sir.
Aluminium oxide. So here we got to see that the aluminum oxide, which is a metal oxide, actually aluminum metal hai. So this metal oxide was reacting with an acid to give a salt, and again it was reacting with a base now to give a salt, well, and water. Right now,
Yes,
getting it both of you.
yes, sir.
So ये कुछ वैसे oxides होते हैं that do react with both of them. Okay, so hope it is clear to everyone. There are some other examples also which will be reacting. Other amphoteric oxides. इसके एग्जांपल्स लाइक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है, अगर आप सिर्फ एल्यूमिनियम ऑक्साइड पे याद करते हैं दैट इज सफिशिएंट, बट if someone have some curiosity, then he can remember the name of zinc oxide.
Say lead oxide.
Lead oxide is also there, zinc oxide and lead oxide. Hope that is clear to both of you.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay, shall we move ahead then?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now we are going to talk about the reactivity series here. अब हम reactivity series discuss करने जा रहे हैं. Okay, so look here. Some of the metals are very chemically reactive. Like you had the example of potassium, or you have the example of sodium, right? ये बहुत reactive metals होते हैं. But some of the metals are very lesser reactive. Okay. And whenever there will be reaction taking place between two compounds, I hope you guys now by this time you guys understand what compound means.
Yes, sir.
Yeah? For example, CO2. CO2 is a compound, right? Because ये दो different elements से मिलकर बना है,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Now, so in a compound you will be having two different elements. सिर्फ
Yes, sir.
कार्बन अगर है, then only carbon is not called as a compound, right? Now, okay. अगर ऑक्सीजन दो ऑक्सीजन एटम्स है, thereby it forms O2, still it is not called a compound because ये identical atoms है, right? Now, if I were to have carbon dioxide carbon also here, that becomes carbon dioxide, now it becomes a compound. So the
Yes.
basic thing about the compound is that when two different elements forms bonds, or more specifically when two different atoms forms bonds, then a compound is formed, right?
So by bond means sharing electrons.
Exactly. Whenever there will be sharing of electrons now, so that there will be a formation of bond, and depending upon the number of electrons share, there are different type of bonds. Getting it now?
Yes,
Single
sir.
bond, double bond, triple bond होते हैं. Okay. Anyways. So reactivity series of metals, we are going to talk about this thing now. So reactivity series, basically the metals have been arranged in a vertical column. Okay. And they are arranged in the order of their decreasing reactivities. ठीक है ना?
Yes, sir.
So reactivity series of metals. So in the given image also you can see like potassium, sodium, calcium. These are some of the very reactive metals. ठीक है ना? ये बहुत ही reactive metals हैं. Okay, and you have the example of like gold, platinum, silver, mercury, right? Lead, iron, zinc, aluminum. So these are very less reactive. Getting it now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and the gold is actually the least reactive metal we have in the reactivity series. Okay,
Yes,
and
sir.
potassium is the most reactive metal. So thereby it has been placed at the top of the reactivity series here. Right, Moz?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So as we come down in the reactivity series, the chemical reactivity of the metals will be increasing or decreasing.
Sir, decreasing.
It will be decreasing. So the thing is that why there was a need to arrange the metals in this order in order to understand the displacement reaction of metals. Displacement reaction क्या है? See here. For example, let's pick out iron from here. हम यहाँ से iron लेते हैं. Okay. You have taken iron. And let's take a compound where copper is present. For example, CuSO4 हमने एक compound लिया. यहाँ पर copper metal present है.
Yes, sir.
Now you guys tell me. First, Moz, you tell me. Like iron is here and copper is here. So which one should
Yes,
be more reactive?
sir, iron.
Iron. You agree, Arhan?
Yes, sir.
Huh. So since iron is more reactive than copper, na, then iron will be doing what to copper? It will replace it, na?
Yes, sir.
So ये से replace कर देगा.
Iron
So it
sulfate plus copper.
iron sulfate plus copper. Very good. So thereby the products obtained will be iron sulfate and copper will be left alone here. Right now. So this is the purpose. Like when we will be doing the chemical reactions, जब हम chemical reactions करते हैं, so thereby this reactivity series helps us to understand why ferrous sulfate is formed here. Getting it now? So ये
Yes,
मुझे
sir.
help करता है in order to understand this because iron was more reactive. How do I got to know this? Why the help of this? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So your task would be now to try and memorize this reactivity series. Okay, I suppose after like few months, you guys will now be in class 9, right? Obviously, you will be in class 9 after a few months. So there you will have to study this. Okay now.
Sir, I
Hmm.
memorized them.
You have memorized it. Very good. That's great. Okay. So Moz, you will also try to memorize it. Okay now.
Now, sir.
Not now. Okay now. Once you'd have completed your syllabus, then you will be. Okay.
Should I take
Ha,
should I take
take the
screenshot?
screenshot.
Okay,
Guys,
sir.
hold on for a minute. I'm having an important call here. Okay now.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, do take this screenshot and then let me know. Yeah. Done. Okay. So that is all you need to know about the reactivity series. Here, basically, on the decreasing order of the reactivity of the different metals, they have been arranged in a vertical fashion. Vertical fashion here. ठीक है ना?
Yes, sir.
Okay, there's nothing too much to be studying in this thing. Next, we have got an activity here. Why this activity? We are going to understand few things. But let's, Moz, you read this activity. Read this activity for us.
Full, sir.
Uh, full activity.
Okay, sir. We take about 50 milliliter of water in a beaker and dissolve 5 grams of copper sulfate in it to obtain copper sulfate solution which is blue in color. Put a clean iron nail in copper sulfate solution in the beaker and keep the beaker undistribute, undistribute for some
Undisturbed,
time.
undisturbed for some
Sorry,
time.
sorry, undisturbed for some time. We will find that the blue copper with the blue color of copper sulfate solution starts fading gradually, and the iron nail gets covered with a red brown layer of copper metal. This change takes place because iron metal displaces copper metal from its compound copper sulfate. It is the copper metal set free from its compound, which forms a red-brown layer on the surface of iron nail.
Right?
Yes,
Okay. You guys understood anything from this given activity? Yeah. So does this activity tell you about anything about the example just I gave you now? See,
Yes, sir.
this beaker, it is blue in color. Okay, the liquid inside this beaker is blue in color, and that liquid is the copper sulfate solution. So copper sulfate solution की color blue होती है, right? And we dipped an iron nail in it. So thereby what happened? Since um, out of the two, you get to see that which is more reactive.
Iron.
Iron is more reactive now. Getting it now. So thereby iron was replacing copper from it, and hence copper was being deposited over the iron nail. Copper का deposition हो रहा है iron nail के ऊपर. Getting it now. And the
So this
color, yes,
activity represents electroplating.
no, electroplating is a different thing. In electroplating, we take the use of electrodes. हम electrodes का help लेते हैं. Okay ना. This is a kind of plating simply. Okay na.
Yes, sir.
And also this is actually like a temporary kind of plating. Okay. By just rubbing it off, scratching it off, the copper over the iron will come off. Right. So Moz, you get to understand, both of you understand from this activity that this consists of copper sulfate.
yes, sir.
This is copper sulfate in the beaker, and that is normally blue in color. That is the color of the copper sulfate. And here it is reacting with iron. And since iron is more reactive, thereby it replaces to form iron sulfate and copper. So that copper deposits over the given iron nail. ये
Yes,
deposit
sir.
हो रहा है. Also, the color of the solution starts fading. Right now, the color of the solution will start fading. Why is it so? Because copper separate हो रहा है sulfate से.
Yes, sir.
Getting it, and it is depositing over the iron nail. So this activity basically shows you that a more reactive metal is displacing a lesser reactive lesser reactive metal. Getting this thing or not?
Yes, sir.
So this thing is basically called as displacement reaction. इसे हम क्या कहते हैं? Displacement reaction कहते हैं. So where a more reactive metal will be displacing a lesser reactive metal from its compound basically. Okay, or in this case, from its salt solution. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Also, copper sulfate हम बात करें, copper sulfate is what? It is a salt here. और ये यहाँ पर हमने salt solution लिया है. So that is a salt solution.
Yes, sir.
Getting this thing now. Copper sulfate is a salt. Do remember that thing. So the crux of the displacement reaction is that more reactive metal will displace a less reactive metal from its salt solution. from its salt solution. So this basically means that when a more reactive metal will be placed in the salt solution, thereby the more reactive metal will be displacing, basically pushing out the lesser reactive metal from the salt solution. जैसा यहाँ पर हो रहा है.
Yes, sir.
Iron is pushing the copper from the salt solution. Iron is basically pushing it out, and hence it deposits over the iron. Okay, now. So these were some of the examples, right? Now, what if you were to have, let's say कि अगर हमारे पास iron sulfate है. First, let me write the reaction again. The activity we had, what basically took in this activity. Can anyone tell me what basically happened in this activity? What was the reaction?
Sir, we took a copper sulfate and an iron nail. We put the iron nail in the copper sulfate solution.
Hmm.
Then, after some time, we noticed that a layer of copper uh, was displaced onto the iron nail, and the color of the sulfate was starting to fade.
Exactly, because copper was being displaced. ठीक है, ये हमारे पास एग्जांपल है. So for example, now let's say कि अब हम copper sulfate लेते हैं, iron sulfate लेते हैं, this iron sulfate. Okay ना. So now if you were to take a salt solution, iron sulfate अगर हम लेते हैं, let's say we have the iron sulfate solution. What if I try to react copper with it? Will there be any displacement reaction here or not? Both of you answer this thing to me.
No, sir.
Why? Because when I check the copper and the iron now, where does the copper lie? Copper lies below the hydrogen here, and in iron is lying over here. So meaning that when I go above in the reactivity series, you get to meet with more reactive metals. Or when you go down in the reactivity series, the chemical reactivity decreases. So thereby iron is more reactive now. So iron is more reactive, hence copper will not be displacing here. So the thing is here is no displacement reaction takes place. Is that clear to everybody?
Yes, sir.
Clear? Moz? That is clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, no, so that is the thing. We have several other examples of those metals where uh, the metal from the salt solution will be displaced. What if I were to take copper sulfate solution अगर मैं लेता हूँ, okay, I am taking the same copper sulfate solution. You will be considering this also while you making notes. Write this point also. ठीक है ना? Also, I hope you guys are taking screenshots of the classes. Okay. Because normally इतना time नहीं मिलता है कि आप note कर पाए हर चीजें. Okay. So what
Yes,
if
sir.
I were to take a copper sulfate again, and now I take zinc. Both of you look at the reactivity series here. Look at
It will
where is
not
copper, where is zinc.
say it. Copper will displace. Copper will not displace zinc.
So copper will not be displacing zinc. Okay. But here यहाँ पे हमारे पास जो क्या है ना, you have the salt solution copper sulfate and you have the zinc. So out of the two, which is more reactive? Copper or
Copper.
zinc? Copper is more reactive. What about you, Moz? What do you think? Zinc is lying here. Zinc यहाँ
Yes,
पे है,
sir.
Arhan. Copper is here. So obviously, this is more reactive. No? Zinc is more reactive.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So zinc should be replacing copper from its salt solution. No?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So here is how the reaction takes place. Again, आप क्या करेंगे? You will be having a beaker here. You will have a strip of zinc. Okay, now आपके पास एक metal का टुकड़ा होगा. You will be having a small piece of zinc, and zinc is silvery white in color. This is silvery white in color. ठीक है? What is the color of copper sulfate? Both of you.
Blue.
Blue. Okay. That is blue solution. Good. So when the reaction takes place now, so thereby zinc being more reactive than copper, it will be displacing copper from its solution. Hence, मुझे क्या मिल रहा है? I will be getting a zinc sulfate. Zinc sulfate. And then I will be getting copper. By the way, all of you know that what the color of the copper is. That is
Bronze.
reddish brown in color. That is the color of the copper. Okay. So interestingly, the zinc sulfate that is formed here, no, this is a colorless solution. Right now, this is colorless solution. Basically identical to water. So whenever you will be having a strip of zinc metal and you will place it in a copper sulfate solution, आपके पास एक zinc metal के strip है, you will place it under the copper sulfate solution. So thereby the blue color of the copper sulfate solution will start to fade away, and gradually I get to see that it becomes colorless, and this metal, that is zinc metal, it was silvery white, now it turns reddish brown. Can Moz, you tell me why it became reddish brown in color?
Yes, sir.
Why the zinc metal becomes reddish brown in color?
Sir, because we didn't touch the solution.
Because we
Didn't touch the solution.
Acho, like here to tell me why the shiny iron nail was turning brown in color. Yes, Arhan.
Yes, sir.
Why this iron nail, when dipped in a copper sulfate solution, started turning reddish brown in color?
The copper was displaced on the iron nail.
Yeah, copper was deposited over the iron nail. Same thing is happening here also, no was?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now. So same thing is happening here also. The copper is being deposited over the zinc strip. I hope you guys aren't getting confused. Okay. So that is the thing. Hope both of you understood this thing.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you had this one example and you had this second example. In both the cases, displacement was happening. Okay. So while you will be giving these definitions, I hope you guys can define it on your own, in your own words. Do I
Yes,
need
sir.
to explain this in terms of words?
No, sir.
Okay. Was, is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Right. So ये क्यों हो रहा है? Because we know that zinc is more reactive than the copper metal. So it will be displacing it. What if I were to have zinc sulfate now? अब मैं ये zinc sulfate solution लेता हूँ. ठीक है?
Yes, sir.
ZINC.
Yes,
Zinc
sir.
sulfate. Zinc sulfate. That is ZnSO4. SO4 means sulfate. Zn means zinc.
Yes, sir.
In chemistry, rather than writing the whole name of the element, we use symbols for it. ठीक है ना? जैसे आयरन को हम
Fe.
Fe बोलते हैं. Okay, copper
Cu.
Cu. Okay, now. So like that, all the elements in the periodic table also you will see they are having short forms.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anyways, so zinc sulfate है हमारे पास. What if I try to react it with copper? अगर मैं copper के साथ react करना चाहूँ इसे, so will the displacement take place? First of all, have a look at this. Again, both of you have a look at this. Where is the zinc and copper lying here? Yeah, both of you.
The copper does not displace zinc sulfate.
Why is it so?
So, since zinc is more reactive than copper.
Exactly. Or copper is less reactive than zinc right now. So that is the thing. So your task is to revise whatever we have studied today, because that is very important. because in the next class I will be asking questions from it. Okay. So
Yes,
in
sir.
today's class, we did talk about reaction of metals or non-metals with bases, what were amphoteric oxides, and the reactivity series. Okay, we did this activity also, and we did a study about the displacement reaction. So
Yes, sir.
hope that is clear. Okay. So we will be discussing the remaining things in the next class. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, guys. So that's it for today. Allah Hafiz then.
Laugh is sir.
Allah
Allah Hafiz both of you.